Are you ready to upgrade your mindset and continue supporting your healing journey? Join the collective today. This membership gives you access to meditations, healing tools, guest healers, and manifestation workshops. Join today for just $44 a month and start manifesting more abundance in your life. Hello, and welcome back to Breathe More. Today we have a very special guest, Carina, who's been a longtime client. I has been a client of hers as well, where I've done healing sessions, and I wanted to bring her on today because she is actually hosting a workshop in my membership, The Collective, today around healing or just getting clarity of paternal wounds that may be coming up in our life. And I have found where we like to be really practical. We want to be in the now, and yet we get frustrated because the most simplest acts feel really hard, or we get really activated and we're not sure why we're thinking or feeling this way. And with the work that Karina does, and so much of the work that I do as well, like it helps you get to the core of like, well, where does this come from? Is it yours? Is it something that you inherited? Is this like passed on generation from generation? And now your awareness of it or the obvious discomfort is an invitation to like really heal it, transmute it, change it so that you're no longer carrying it. And what a beautiful gift as well for your lineage, your family. If you have kids, like a gift to them so that they don't have to continue to experience that. So, welcome, Karina. Thank you so much for being here. And I want us to start first, just because I think people are really curious like, how does one get to do this work? How did you even come across this? So, why don't you tell us your origin of how you started this and then tell us more about what your work looks like today?
Oh, thank you so much, Anna. Thank you for inviting me and thank you for holding space for me throughout all these years and connecting with me. It's been such a powerful gift that I feel like we receive from each other to be able to hold space for each other and just grow together. And that's how you build community. And in essence, I think that's part of how I got here. I didn't get here by myself. I got here, I believe, by allowing what was already within me to shine through. And for someone that has been taught and conditioned to put on a mask, put on a face, and learn to cope with different cultures, different aspects of the life that we engage in, it's very difficult, or it was very difficult for me to come out of not just my shell, but to really be able to look at what was inside of me and let it come through. And I think that because of people like you and my ability to be honest with myself, that's how I got here.
I think that's such a really important point that I would like to like stay on a little bit where the masks, the conditioning, the identities that aren't even yours, but maybe, again, they were given to us or they've been used as a coping mechanism. However, to have that awareness of recognizing, wait, this isn't my truth. Or maybe it was for a certain point and it helped me to get here, but it just feels so uncomfortable now. Like, It it doesn't resonate with me, and I feel like then the body, if we don't do this work sooner, at least that was the case for me, where then it started to manifest in anxiety and depression and, like, physical manifestations of how uncomfortable I felt with the way that I was thinking about things, how I was navigating the world, how I was showing up, how I was speaking, and it felt so uncomfortable because as you were saying, like, my truth felt trapped, but I wasn't connected to that. So, with someone like yourself, I think and with me, like, we do attract people where I think the initial feeling is discomfort or just this acceptance of something needs to change. I feel stuck, I feel burnt out, I feel resentful. I'm feeling all these things that are not helping me, and how do I get out of it? Or I don't even think that they necessarily care to know or know that it's important to know the origin. For me, the way that I work with my clients, I find that it's empowering to like, we don't have to get re-traumatized. We don't have to go all the way back, but just making the connection. I just led a workshop the other day and helping them make the connection where the origin comes from, these thoughts or these identities or these beliefs or this way of thinking was such a huge breakthrough. And immediately I saw folks feeling really empowered. So I'm grateful that you had that awareness, that like nudge within you that was like, okay, no, I don't want to continue living my life this way. What can I do differently? Or what, or who am I? Or that exploration, right? That got us to this point. So tell us more.
It's the who am I? You just said it. It's who am I? Who truly is this person that's been hiding, that's been having to cope, that's been having to present itself to the world. And it's almost like finding like that the people that feel like they have multiple personalities, right? You have to call on each one to present itself to whoever it is that you're facing rather than facing who you are inside. And then all you have to do is face that one. Instead of facing many, you just face you. And when you embody yourself, then the world is yours. Then you truly have your own experience.
Why do you think that so many people are also like, there's that desire to connect with their authentic self, but then I feel like there's so much fear to do that as well.
We've been conditioned. We can blame it on so many factors. I think to me, it always comes back to the effects of colonization. It's the inherited trauma that we've been carrying of having been removed from what was inherently us. And now we have this mixture of not just the wounds of those that were colonized, but of the colonizers themselves. And this mix for us, for people that look like us, that are really direct descendants of this large cultural trauma, it's hard for us to not just for ourselves because we're continuously re-experiencing this trauma, especially us as immigrants or first generation immigrants and descendants of immigrants. We've been re-traumatized. That wound has been cracked open for us to look at it as an opportunity to heal it, not just for us but for all of those ancestors that both inflicted and received that original wound.
Mhm.
And you said it earlier that in your workshop, when you gave the invitation to connect with the origin, it's not an invitation to be re traumatized. It's an opportunity to look at it as an opportunity to heal. And when you do that, then you have the opportunity to make the choice to heal. And that is, in essence, what changes everything. It's your choice. And you can't make that choice unless you know what you're making the choice about.
To your point, I feel like it helps people to get them out of the place of being a victim, whether they actually call themselves or view themselves a victim, but a lot of it is like how we show up in our life, right? And what we take responsibility for and what we continue to allow or disallow. And then when we're like, wait a minute, no, I'm not okay with that, or that does not support me, or I don't want to continue feeling that way, then that's the empowerment. That's when we're actually taking charge of our life and our destiny, and we are choosing to make a change. And again, yeah, that change can feel impossible, so scary, unsafe. But at the same time, I always tell my clients as well, I'm like, well, you already know this way of living, you've already experienced it. You have acknowledged that it's not serving you, it's really uncomfortable now. And also, there's so much evidence. I always like to bring it back to like evidence, proof, so that our mind doesn't get stuck in the fear or in the stories that it's making up to keep us in the same place. And you're also at the core a really courageous person because you've already decided to embark on this journey, right? And so lean in and discover like what is the worst thing that can happen? The worst thing is probably just staying in the same place, right? and out in front of us, and the unknown is the possibility. It's the healing, the empowerment, the lightness, the freedom, the abundance, the love, the joy, everything that you want.
Absolutely. And just to add on to that, you mentioned fear of the unknown, but we often forget that if we know ourselves, then the fear of the unknown becomes less scary because we know what we are capable of. We know what is within us. We know what we are worth. And that, in and of itself, will grant you the opportunity to break down any other fears that you have. It will, somebody called it right sizing. It will right size whatever amplified fear that you have of an external source when you are aware of what you are capable of and what is within you.
Yeah, I think the other point to that is then it always falls back on self-trust. Right? If there is fear, if there's like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know of the unknown," the brain's like, "I can't predict what's gonna happen, so let's stay here." But what I always how I make decisions and how I move forward, independent of what big of a risk it is or what big of a transition shift is, at the end of the day, I deeply trust myself. I trust my judgment. I trust that I listen to my intuition. I trust that even when I make a mistake, I'll make it right. Whether I have to apologize to someone, whether I have to like take ownership of it, whether I have to redo something, I don't really think that there's mistakes. Like, I feel like with everything, there's an opportunity to learn and grow from it. But going back to that fear, and I see so many clients or people who like want to work with me and possibly with you as well. You see this with people, but they're just so afraid. It's like, I can't afford it. I can't do this. My time, my this and that. And it's like, okay, let's continue to distill that. Like, but what's behind all of that? And I feel like a big part that's missing is the lack of trust in self. Even in investing in yourself with coaching with Carina or with myself, it's like, do you not trust that you're going to show up and do the work? Do you not trust that the suggestions that we make to you, that you're going to do them? And if you don't, like, let's start little by little because maybe in the past, that has been a trauma response where you lean in and then you hide. You lean and hide, and that's very normal, right? It's just our nervous system as well as adjusting itself to something new. So instead of making it wrong, it's like, well, now I do have the support of someone to guide me, to hold me accountable, to help me when I get activated and triggered. So, for those of you who have been sitting with that, with maybe making a decision or deciding to invest in yourself, like I really invite you to think about that piece, the self trust behind the fear, the obvious thoughts that are coming through of telling you why you shouldn't do it.
Yeah. And with that, also, don't discard the seed of intuition that is sprouting forward because if you're already thinking about it, if this is already on your radar and you're having to talk yourself out of it, then you're talking yourself out of your intuition.
Mm.
People show up in front of you with messages, with opportunities for growth for a reason because you call them in. We call them in for ourselves, and if you find yourself that you're having to talk yourself out of something that you called in, then give yourself that opportunity to redirect yourself and come back and accept. Accept yourself, accept your intuition, follow that nudge because we're here. You called us in, we're here.
I'm so glad you're saying this because literally, I just finished launching enrolling for my self entrepreneur mentorship. And that's what I was
Mhm.
seeing, right? It's like, wait, y'all signed up for this. Like, you signed up for my freebie because you need help, you need support to figure out how to bring in more clients, make more money, feel more confident about your work. So you did the first step of downloading the freebie. I had another free class. You didn't necessarily show up for that. And then here's the program that's really going to hold your hand step by step. And you're like, no, 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 that's not it. Yet to your point, it's like, but that's exactly what you said you've been wanting. And we just get in our way. We sabotage. Like, that's one of the
Yeah.
things that makes me so sad when people are like right there. And then it's like, nope, nope. And then a whole other year and
Yeah.
beyond go by, and they're still in the same place.
Exactly. It's not just the self-sabotage, but the self-doubt that holds us prisoners from taking whatever next step is being opened for us in so many ways. And when you do that, you're closing the door that you asked to be open for you. It's like you take that doorknob and close it back in.
Yeah, that's such a great
A
visual.
powerful realization.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's really gonna land for a lot of folks. It's like, yeah, the door is open and you're like, "No, not this one. Maybe a different one will come later."
I'll have to manifest another one.
For real. Let's just make it more complicated. Okay, can we drop in and talk a
Yeah.
little bit more about when I met you? And I think similar with my work, perhaps. A lot of times when we go into the healing arts, the work that we're doing is a reflection of our healing path as well. So I know when I started to work with you, there was the ancestral component or just looking at like the origin, and you talk a lot about colonization and all of that. And I know that you shared that your work has transitioned more into now coaching. But can you talk a
Yeah.
little bit about that piece and the importance of it and how it could be helpful for people to reflect on?
Yes. So when I first started working with others, it was because my journey led me, that was my door that showed up. Like many of us, I was more concerned about healing those around me than myself.
Mm.
And so ancestral healing showed up for me because I was looking for someone to help my mom. And when I opened that door, because I actually walked through that door, it was important to help her, but I understood the importance of you becoming that human nexus that is able to heal those ancestral wounds because they need that human nexus. You kind of agreed to do that probably long before you came into this world. It was this contract with your ancestors that, okay, what if you get to this point, you get to help us out, and you agreed, right? So you get to this point, you're given this opportunity to heal yourself because you do have to start with yourself. And that awareness of, okay, wait a minute, as I go through my own healing, I'm finding things that are not mine. What are these and why are they here with me? Right? And so then you have this opportunity to say, again, you get to make that choice. Do I want to heal those things so that I'm no longer affected, so that those around me, my loved ones, my future generations don't get to deal with this and they get to start with a clean slate? You get to make that choice. And in making those choices, you become more you. You get to shed layers that were on top of the real you, that were maybe lessons that gave you clues into what was within you. They were seeds that were planted. When people say, oh, your ancestors planted seeds within you, that's what they're talking about.
Mm.
They're talking about cracking open lessons that they had an opportunity to learn and they didn't. And so you get to decide whether you want to crack that lesson open and embody it and benefit from it because it's always going to be for your benefit. It's always going to be for your growth. If your family has a history of not being able to connect with money and not being able to receive wealth, do you want to crack that open? Do you want to be the beneficiary of that lesson? And so those are the realizations, the eye-opening moments that you come through in your healing process. And I think for me, as I continue to move through my own journey, I've come across more people that as they've encountered their journey, they're coming into this understanding that, okay, I've done the work, I've done the healing, I've done the energy part of it. Like, now what does it mean for me? And I think that is often the question that I get at the beginning of the process, like, what am I going to look like after this?
Mm.
And that is a whole other journey of getting to live in excitement of, oh my gosh, okay, what do I get to do now? How do I get to embody this? How do I bring this into the 3D? How do I go on and live with this understandings and with this healing version of me with the, taking the wheel? And so that I think has been more of what I've been working with lately with my clients. that have gone through the process. And it's such an empowering place to be because they get to try things that in their wildest dreams, they never thought it was possible for
Right.
them. And to be able to see that on my end, I think is the purpose of my journey because you get to experience it too with your client. You get to see the world change before your eyes, and there's no price for that. That's just, you understand that a higher power, that source, that creation of life is here in
Mhm.
every moment. And it's just such a beautiful, exalted place to be that I really hope more people are making that choice to take that step forward, to join you in your membership and to continue to work on themselves, to connect with the guides that are being presented to them. It all comes back to that one choice. And I think to bring it even more full circle, the energy that we've been talking about, the actually bringing in the healing process into the 3D world, into practical terms, into grounded energy, that's all masculine energy, which is exactly what we're healing in our workshop. It's that
Yeah.
masculine energy. It's your paternal wounds. And those wounds often have to do with your ability to stay grounded, your ability to take action on things. That's masculine energy. And so when you make a choice to heal your paternal wounds, especially your ancestral wounds, then you're giving yourself that seed that says, okay, now I can take action. Now I can move forward. Now I can ground myself, like reclaim my gifts from my paternal lineage and move forward, actually physically move forward. And I think that's such a powerful way to begin a journey by deciding, by making that choice that, you know what, this is what I need to do now. That is action. That is you listening to that seed of intuition that is within you and taking it to the next level.
I can't wait. So, since you beautifully transitioned into tying in the workshop that you're teaching today in the collective, can you tell us, like, how does one know if we need to work on our paternal wounding, or how would it manifest within us? Like, what does it look like if that's something that is off balance, or what would be a healed paternal? I guess it wouldn't be a wound.
Well, first of all, I always connect to the body first.
Hmm.
If in hearing what you just said, in hearing the words paternal, in hearing you talk about or thinking of your dad, and what I'm getting is like an instant like block in the throat chakra, like, oh, you get choked up. Like, what is your body telling you when you think of your dad, when you think of your paternal lineage, when you think of your connection to the masculine energy in your life? How does your body react? Is there like a like a
Mhm.
sudden intake of breath? That's your first sign. Your body is always going to be your first clue. And I want to always encourage everyone to tune into your body. See, my throat was cracking up right there.
Yes.
Things like that. They don't happen by happenstance. There's no coincidence. Your body is physically talking to you. So if there is something, your body's your first clue. And then next, if you don't see eye to eye with that side, if you don't see eye to eye with your father, with your paternal lineage, then that's a clue. There's something there. And oftentimes it has to do with you being able to come back and find compassion because compassion will open the door for healing. When you're able to feel compassionate for yourself and you're able to feel compassion for the man that he is or that he was in your life. Oh, and I'm just sensing a lot of a lot of sadness coming in. And listen to those emotions. Listen
Mhm.
to those feelings because the energy that represents him in your life is talking to you. And if you are here, if you are listening, if you're coming across posts and signs that are rehashing this moment for you, then that's the universe reaffirming what you already know, that you're being called to heal. That door, that opportunity to heal this part, this wound is coming forward for you. And it's up to you to decide whether you want to walk through that door or not.
Yeah. So beautiful. So for the workshop, what does it look like? What are the practices that you're going to guide us through, or what can people expect?
So I work with energy. My practice always has to do with energy, and I often guide you through a meditative process where it is very much an energetic process. The meditation part is an opportunity for your body to relax and an invitation for the energy to present itself. And what happens during the workshops is we'll have the energetic component that gives the participants the opportunity to release the energy, to bring in healing and to process energetically. And then the second part is we're going to have an embodying portion where we get to speak, where we get to experience what it's like to have that throat chakra be released from this wound. So, for you to be able to use your voice is the physical representation of you embodying your masculine energy. That is your divine birthright from your paternal lineage. So, and we're also, because I work with ancestors, we're going to call in the ancestors to come in and support us and to heal through this process as well. So, it's going to be good. It's
Sounds
going to be
so
really good.
powerful. I can't wait. For those of you who are listening to this early on Monday, make sure you get your ticket. We're hosting it at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And then if you're happening to catch this at a later point, you can still access this healing session with Carina in my membership, The Collective. You can click on the show notes to become a member. Carina, if people are curious to work together, what are your offerings looking like right now? I know you shared you're supporting your clients, and to me, it sounded more like the integration of like they've gone through the healing and now they're like babies discovering the new world. Like, who am I
Yes.
now? How do I want to show up? So, what does it look like to work with you today?
So, to work with me today, I am focusing on coaching you through life after your first healings, after embodying all those choices that you made for yourself. What is it that you get to do? What is it that you get to experience? And I get to come with you on that journey, and I get to share with you how your guides are manifesting and just walk with you. I walk
Amazing.
with you.
It sounds like such a held container.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think all of my containers and all of my practices, I strive for one-on-one connections
Mhm.
where I am channeling your guides specifically just for you. I'm not tapping into other sources. I'm not coming in as necessarily what I would do. That's not my approach. My approach has always been what's in your best interest, what is in alignment with your higher self. What is it that you are calling in for you? And how do I help support you in that process? And I think that that has been a missing link for so many of us on this journey. It's to have that one person that gets to come in and just holds our hand just for us. And that in and of itself to be able to receive that for you is a big step in the process. So I get to walk with people on their journey.
So beautiful. I'm just blown away, and I'm so happy to continue to see your work evolve and that you continue to show up for folks and you're there as a mentor and guide and healer and just helping them live their authentic, beautiful life. So thank you for the work that you do, Karina. All of Karina's information for y'all to connect with her on social media and to work with her are in the show notes. Please give her a follow. And I look forward to seeing you at our workshop in the collective. And we will be back next week. See you.
Thank you.
Yay. Thank you.